TSM 2-3 so far on the map. This is all, of course, through the first straight qualifiers that we've seen thus far.
And again, TSM are going for triple duelists with no Sentinel. Now, I can understand that on Haven, because even before the Cypher Killjoy changes came through, there were some cases where you would run triple duel. Like Cloud9 did it quite a lot. They did it before those changes even came in, but opted to run something more traditional. On Split, it's a little bit more concerning, to be brutally honest, because even Sage finds play here because of how good she can be in controlling mid. They are going to be attacking first, so yet again, you would hope to see that attacking half be good for them, considering how aggressive their comp is with the Breach too. But I would have thought after losing that first map that you might go, okay, let's just go back to what we're used to. Let's try and forget around this patch. But if this is what they've been scrimming the past week, then really you've got to kind of double down on it almost. So for NRG at least, more of a traditional comp. Daps is still on the Cypher. He doesn't tend to change over at all. You've got eeiu moving over to the Breach, which is fairly strong. KOLER's Raze, though, I remember picking up on it a couple of times, not being the best Raze on Split. So I wonder how that's going to face up against the three duelists on the side of TSM, especially on the defense.
A totally different look for TSM, because not only are they going without a Sentinel, they usually also play the Viper. So
yeah.
this is a much more aggressive composition to what they normally play, and maybe that's what they're kind of figuring as far as what was their weak point when they were playing through NSG's qualifiers before. This time they're allowed to get onto the B site relatively freely, and with that, Wardell will get the spike planted. So now it's just down to where do you set up this post plant, and on the opposite side for NRG, how are you going to set up a retake? They do have paint shells available, but all 5 members are currently stacked up top B tower, and a 5-man hit from the high ground, I can't imagine seeing it go through all that successfully, but this is taking a lot of time. At what point are you going to hit the go call? Maybe that will do it, as Sam is able to find one. Drone gets the trade. Paranoia going to come through, and NRG now onto the site.
They usually explode with getting all of these kills in tandem, but you can see the Phoenix's position on the side of TSM is very deep. They're not maybe expecting him, but the Hot Hands is going to give away that position. Daps is 6 HP, is going to try and face him, right-click him in the face. He can do that at least, but it's a 1 versus 1, 2 HP hazed. He's done enough. There's no time for the defuse to come in. A nice attacking execute coming out of TSM. Very aggressive, very quick, exploding onto that B site. But NRG made it close, to say the least.
And this is going to be the problem with this composition that you see, I guess I should say the problem with TSM, but the issue that NRG are going to have with this composition is what I meant to say here. As you start to get to the position to where all of these duelists are here, and if you don't find an opening kill onto any of them, it's going to be really difficult, I think, for this NRG team to find ways to retake because of how much utility can come through to stall out a defuse. That time, it was simply just the hot hands from Drone. You place that into a corner, which doesn't allow the defuse to go through. It was a late retake attempt from NRG. There just simply wasn't enough time for the play to even occur.
An aggressive camera actually out of the defense tags one of TSM that they have to back up. They're really pressing from A lobby at this time. They're about to face off. eeiu's going to be able to get a nice clean flash in, but Som is a shorty to give context, so he's just going to be holding on to this corner the best that he can. TSM have some big guns. There's a Vandal in play for them too, so they don't really want to lose these guns in a scenario. So quite wisely, they've backed off towards B because Subroza is just doing Subroza things. He's lurked all the way through the B side.
Now NRG are going to be really hard-pressed to even get a look at a retake. Because you've got not just Subroza in the middle of the map, but you also have KOLER, who's going to be sitting just on the backside of mid-market. Spike will be planted. NRG are going to all funnel right over through Subroza's line of sight. There's the first kill. Second one nearly makes themselves available. There's the information. Paint shells comes out. Blast pack behind it. Fault line won't be enough of a deterrence, and Subroza is just going to try to be isolated likely for a kill here, but he's not going to be denied. He finds himself a second and a third, maybe the fourth coming from the backside. There's the pitch. Hazed will help, but this has been a great round for TSM as there's obviously no chance here for effys.
Near flawlessly. The only one that obviously died was Subroza, who took down so many of the defenders. He's going to be happy. Full buy is going to be coming out of NRG. Subroza is only one orb away from having a showstopper, which is one of the reasons why he played so aggressively. Having that ultimate on attack just to find an opening, not only does it get a kill, obviously, but it's so scary when you hear it come out on like a B execute that you're going to see NRG take a step back almost and just let them have the site whilst the ultimate is online, I guess you'd call it. So we might see a bit more respect given. He is going to be playing for potentially the orb in B, but it is going to be contested by NRG on this side at least. They're actually going to try and take it off of him.
Yeah, aggressive look at B tower here as well for the opposite side, but TSM will be stalled for a moment, and as effys finds first blood at a Subroza over through B main, there will be no threat of the showstopper, at least in this round. TSM still stacking. There's a spy cam nearby that daps is known to use, and he's just going to read all three of these members, not even going for a tag. Pinch trying to potentially get here. Daps, good help with the fault line, will find the first kill and be able to stay alive. effys one more, and now all of a sudden TSM completely trapped and isolated, and KOLER dropping the spike won't make things any easier for hazed.
That was a hell of a round from NRG. I love the camera. I love the fault line play as well from eeiu. I think eeiu's actually been one of the better players on this roster. Like, I think when he was on T1, certainly as a substitute for a time where Skadoodle was benched, you really didn't see too much out of him. He had to do quite a lot. I think he was on the Brimstone IGL in at the same time too. And you really didn't see that potential. But him on the Silver is really strong for NRG. Him on the Breach is, I think, better in some cases. He looks really good on it. He's still 0-2. But that kind of team play and assist set up a really nice round for NRG to take it flawlessly. Buddy Up is in play yet again from TSM on this attack.
Wardell, again, great with the operator defensively on Haven. We mentioned that it wasn't nearly as considerable on offense. And the only lingering thought here is the fact that how often do we really see big explosive opening plays with operators offensively on split? The tradition is not often. KOLER, this should be a pretty easy kill for him, as he should know that drone is nearby. Although, nothing is easy when you're going up against the side of drone, and KOLER will have to back down. It's a tough position to get rid of right now if you're looking at that defensively from NRG.
Yeah, he's scary, he's spooky, but Subroza's going to try and face. He has that showstopper now, but only with the Sheriff, you wouldn't expect him to necessarily go and grab it. He did get the orb just to sort of get this peek out of effys. If they can take a 1 versus 3 fight here, even with the lesser guns, that's a great way to break onto this site, but there's a lot of people from NRG stacked over, and that paranoia is clutch.
Showstopper for Subroza actually comes up empty. Not even a lot of damage confirmed off of it. So all of a sudden, TSM are going to have to find a different way to enter onto the site. effys is holding his right, but does he recognize that there are a number of members here to the left? Only finds one. Should have had a lineup, I think, in his mind, and many others. And with Wardell able to find the shot with the operator, now all of a sudden it's a 3v2, and TSM should get this spike down without much contest. You do have Sam who's trying to contest. This comes out of the cloudburst. He finds two, and a beautiful flashpoint forward for eeiu, making use of the breach again.
I love the way that you just said without much context, and then Som's like, I'm just going to get a triple kill. It was just complete slaughter. Again, like a nice solid retake. It was effys paranoia there, though, because he was expecting the showstopper play to come through, knew that there were players there from TSM because they were pinging the orb, they were trying to bait out somebody to peek it and get caught out. But the paranoia catches Subroza as he's pushing through. He gets fully blinded with the ultimate. There's so many different places that NRG could be holding from. Misses it, gets no damage in, gets caught out from the coming onslaught. So really nice play from them. It wasn't even a retake, it was just holding that site. The spike didn't even get planted. Save coming out of TSM, 2-all.
Well, aggressive stance here for NRG as they've pushed some up towards the electric box in mid. And is anyone going to expect them? Neither nice flashpoint. eeiu on this breach. The timings that NRG have found. Again, I don't mean to sound so completely astonished by it, but these were not things that we saw from this NRG team last week. They attempted it, sure, but their executions were a bit off. We mentioned a lot about their timings were not quite consistent. Some of their synergy was a bit off. This has been a much different look for NRG, but that said, we are still in a 4v4 coming through, and TSM are still trying to push up the middle of the map.
I think NRG just have solid map control because you don't have the Cypher on the team, so you don't have that lurk, you don't have Subroza on the Omen. He has to be more the tip of the spear instead of doing stuff on his own on the Raze. You really don't get to see that kind of play style that TSM was so comfortable on. I respect that they're trying new stuff in a tournament like this. They're not just relying on the same old. They wanted to lean into whatever new meta we could see.
Right.
But we're just not seeing that individual potential coming through because they're just, learning their roles now. They've changed stuff up a little bit, and we're just not really seeing the same TSM at this point.
daps, another cheeky camera position. Is going to read the information that here comes the hit towards A. daps up top is good for one, some, another. KOLER able to find at least one trade, but that'll be likely about it. hazed does make things interesting with a couple of kills. He's going to hit the shrouded step, pick up the spike, and not going to have enough time to commit. He would have had if he just held on to it, but instead, maybe second-guessed himself a touch. Can he force one more repurchase? No, effys will shut him down, and NRG, they take the lead here with 3 straight rounds.
Big buy up though for TSM. 3 ultimates available. Rolling Thunder certainly going to be a big one from KOLER. Even drones run it back and can find a lot at this point. Some top fragging for his team and tied on the server with daps and hazed. Going to be having the operators, going to be playing from A long. Really doesn't look like TSM are going to be putting too much pressure over there at this point. It is just going to be hazed on the Omen, smoking stuff off, maybe teleporting up to ramp. It's mostly going to be this pressure onto mid. The KOLER fault lining, may potentially rolling Thunder across the top of mail, and we could see a push coming through there with a couple of ultimates, but more likely a BA execute coming out at this point.
I'm just keeping my eye almost exclusively on KOLER here as far as how he wants the position. There could be the attempt of an early run it back just to try to scout out what's on the site itself to confirm what exactly you need out of your rolling Thunder. KOLER's the one who's close, and Subroza falls. It's going to be a run it back simultaneously with the rolling Thunder. And KOLER, recognizing there's a lot of pressure, will pull the showstopper out, and those are 2 key ultimates for TSM that are not going to find initial value off the ultimates themselves. But here still comes the hit. effys on the site, only good for 1, but really technically he's good for 3 as he finds himself 3 total in the round. We've got ourselves a 2v2. Plant trying to come out. You've got eeiu up top. He's good for 1. He's good for 2, and NRG clean on the retake.
He just had heaven control. You could see that TSM weren't expecting him in that position, especially with how hazed brought out the Omen shrouded step. Nice 2k for him. 4-2 now. You would expect NRG to have the innate advantage of just being defenders first. But this is, again, comfortable from them. They look a decent team when they can not so much keep the lead and get a lot of rounds in a row. I mean, obviously, they're going to look the stronger team if they're winning. But they just look like a more confident team overall when they can keep that momentum in their favor. If TSM win 4 or 5 rounds now, you are going to see NRG make a lot of mistakes, fall apart a little bit. But when they're confident, you got to say they play some pretty good Valorant.
Yeah, they're playing some damn good Valorant. Now TSM on a broken buy, a little bit of a light buy situation. Looking to stack maybe for an early aggressive hit to A, which is currently where Sam is positioned with the operator. And this is going to be a full stack after a flashpoint comes through right down the middle. Sam, good for 1. Tailwind away, stays alive. That's how key is this. Oh my goodness. One more up front, close and personal. Goes to the classic, but flash beyond belief. KOLER for 2. That'll open up space onto the A site, but trades are decent for NRG. They'll have a numbers advantage to 3v2 for the retake.
And TSM don't really have much ground to hold on to in this 2 versus 3. You can see them wrap around. The paranoia misses though, but that gives away the position of where effys is playing from. So they are going to be pushed onto site. Nice pick from KOLER. He can't win that, but it's a 2 versus 1. Drone having the operator. He's going to be able to break it down. He knows that effys was coming from A main. Does he expect him on the site? Does he expect him on the spike? He does now because the defuse was tricked. But with the operator now sat in the smoke, he needs to have reactive aim. Is he going to be expecting? Just misses out. effys plays that smartly. And he is going to have enough time for the defuse to come through.
Did he get legged off the no-scope?
There's no way.
He's down to 30 HP. I'm pretty positive he got
so unlucky then. If you're drone, that is so unlucky.
The jump from effys stays and saves his life, Ryan. Unreal.
It's so hard to say because he was no-scoped, so that could literally go in any direction. Like, that's just more unfortunate than anything. I think Drone played that really well, but if he did get legged there, I thought he just took some damage from previous, but... Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch that back. It was 100% legged according to the producer, so oh my god. Drone is gonna be molding at that.
Oh, how crucial of a round would that have been? I mean, still, it's a punishing round regardless. And TSM, we're going to be griping at the chance of potentially being able to steal a thrifty away. But regardless, you're forcing repurchases defensively, so you're able to stall out the economy just a touch here. So if you can win this round, you will have an opportunity not just to tie things up, but you could take the edge back on this offense economically. So that is the goal here for TSM. They have another Rolling Thunder to play with, so we'll see if they try to free up maybe a space for, once again, KOLER to open up the attack.
It's where they want to place KOLER in this. Oh, Subroza going down in a fight there. That was a nice play from eeiu. He has walked away from potentially more there, but this is going to be a nice flash to push back Wardell. In fact, he's going to keep pushing, but he needs to be careful that somebody doesn't come through ropes. In fact, he must have seen him there. He doesn't react at all, but that's a nice little flick to get drone. Oh, he's not having the best of times right now.
Look, you gotta say it again, the x-rays on. We were watching that play the entire time, but the eyes may have been moved for eeiu. That's a hell of a flick shot, though. And now a 3v5. And again, this is a huge round for TSM. They can full purchase again. They've got a Rolling Thunder to potentially play with. effys just guessing through the dark cover is good for one. He'll find himself a double. Last one left. KOLER underneath the rafters. He's found one kill, but that'll be all he walks away with. And all of a sudden, NRG really started to build a huge lead here in the first half, up 6-2.
And that was a buy-up, too. Oh, that's a struggle.
Yeah.
effys, though, newest addition to NRG, came in from Genji, where he was dropped in favor of Sean. He's really found himself at home here, still on trial. Honestly, I think regardless of how First Strike goes for them now, he's certainly worth considering to keep on that position. He's been great across the tournament, consistent, much more consistent than he was at Genji on that Omen as well. There is going to be a bit of a half-buy, a little bit of a force coming out of TSM. They have the Rolling Thunder still. It's been difficult for KOLER to get into a position to realistically use it for massive impact. But you got to bear in mind that eeiu has his, and I could see as soon as the Rolling Thunder comes out on the attack, it comes out on the defense pretty much straight away to counter it.
Flashpoint through. Drone going to make his way up. Over to Male. KOLER nearby. Sam watching over him with the operator. One good curveball hit, though. That could be two huge weapons corralled for TSM. And Drone is still holding on to both of those curveballs. Posturing, setting themselves up. Dark cover comes through defensively. Here comes the hit. Curveball also there. KOLER's good for not just one, but he gets himself a second. Big kills for KOLER. TSM are going to be hard-pressed to get onto the B side, and daps will make sure he puts the nail potentially in the coffin as he finds the third pick. And it's just down to Subroza sitting with hazed over through B main with no spike in hand.
TSM not using any ultimates. They weren't fully dedicating to this at this point, so honestly, the fact that they didn't use too much is definitely a save for them. Speaking of save, that's what they're going to be doing with their guns for this round at least. With the big ultimates that they have, using Rolling Thunder there and having KOLER get those two frags, it could have gone differently, don't get me wrong, because of Rolling Thunder, but NRG are just stopping TSM from getting anything done at this point. The spike is surrounded by 3 players. Subroza is trying to take an engagement, break a bit of the economy for NRG at this point. He can get eeiu, but there's more there. He doesn't really value his life too much. He goes down to Sum's operator. 7-2 to NRG. This has been a comfortable defense from them so far.
7 in a row.
They've only won the 2 pistols.
Yeah, I was about to say, the pistol round was close. This very well could have been a flawless defensive half for NRG. If they maybe executed, 3-5 seconds sooner, it would have been a 1v1. That very well could have gone the other way, but TSM were clutch there. But look how many of these rounds have expired due to time. Only 2 plants have also been put down for TSM in this spree of the last 7. So the offense is having a little bit of trouble, and that's not what you want to see when you're opting into a triple duelist setup. Drone going to go to the run it back. Curveball comes through immediately, and he will be punished by Sam, but that's good information knowing that the operator is playing the backside of A.
Speaking of operator, Wardell has one in hand, but this is a big rocket launcher for Subroza. He's trying to work out where Som is. If he fires it now, he might be able to get the frag. He doesn't! The Blade Storm takes him out of all things. So Som's still alive with the operator, with the ultimate. Is going to let this spike get planted, but 4 ultimates on the retake.
Som isn't just alive, Ryan. He took no damage. How confusing is that right there if you're looking at it from Subroza's POV? Wardell good for 1. Double updraft coming through. Som not quite great with the knives in that position. KOLER with a showstopper of his own. Takes down Drone and absolutely puts KOLER on critical HP. He's by himself for a 1v4. No chance there. NRG with another retake.
And they didn't use up everything all at once. They got a couple of ultimates out of TSM. They got the Rolling Thunder. They got the Run It Back. They got the Showstopper. That's a lot of ultimates used. They got the Spike planted. That's all that they could do. It's a tough bold one. Wardell, Subroza, 2 of the 3 duelists. All of the duelists, actually, 4 frags each. You look at effys, he's got 3 times that. He's almost got as many kills as the 3 duelists on the side of TSM.
Combined.
Yeah, it's not a good look, to say the least. I don't really want to say the triple duelist, the lack of Sentinel is what's going wrong. I think people did that with Team Liquid when they ran those smokes. I don't think it's inherently that cut and dry, but they are struggling. We've never really seen them have this bad of a time. Certainly against a team that has never really had this good of a time with NRG. It's so bizarre to watch out.
Well, Wardell's trying to go maybe quickly up the B tower. Things will put to a pause, though, as there is that battle through the dark cover over by B main. And the spike being held currently by KOLER looks to rotate over closer to where hazed is positioned through A main. Defensively, NRG are stacked at B, but eeiu, the solo defensive member at A, does have a Rolling Thunder potentially play with if he needs to.
Look at his confidence play, though. He's just facing an angle. It is pixels, so it's not going to be easy for TSM to peek around that corner and just get the dome headshot in on him. But he's confident to face it. The Omen smoke is going to push him a little bit further forward so he can take that engagement. He doesn't get flashed because he backs out into the smoke just in time. But they're going to be playing for the retake here. But do they expect Drone on the Phoenix? He's going to break this tripwire in ropes at this point. But even if he just sits here and lurks, it's a scary threat. Spike gets planted.
All he has to do is wait to hear when the retake engagement comes through, and then he can make his presence felt. Oh, KOLER, big play as he gets up top, but will be denied as Subroza finds the immediate trade. Still a good post-plant position through a long year for Subroza. But how about this? There's going to be a check here on the drone through ropes, rather, and daps does find the kill. So now the Rolling Thunder comes through. A push for some with the frenzy. He finds one. You're going to get trades coming through as the Spectre's good for another, and Subroza can't find a single pick. NRG cleanly retake once again. They'll be up 9-2 with 1 more to play in the half.
Oh, not like this, TSM. That was a solid execute up until that point. Some very aggressive over egregious plays from KOLER there especially. But daps catching Drone in that position. And it's a shame, really, because Drone was in that spot for so long and was constantly checking behind him. He was making sure that nobody was coming through mid, but got caught out there. The impressive thing from NRG is the fact that as soon as they got that kill onto Drone, they themselves exploded onto that site. It was all in tandem. All worked out super well, and this is a dominant defending half now from NRG. TSM, I think, need to win this round. Wardell, operator, needs to show up. He's bottom fragging at this point. It's not a good look.
Subroza, though, he'll find first blood. Another engagement through B main. That will be KOLER off the table. No ultimates for now, and in that engagement, Subroza is taken down to critical health. Drone, looking again to move forward, deals with a trap wire. The same camera position up top here for daps. He didn't tag this before, but TSM were very well aware of where it was positioned. They delete it this time, and daps is forced to pop the cyber cage, and that will be enough for TSM to get pushed back as daps pushes forward. He does go 1 for 1, but is it going to be enough as TSM now have the numbers?
They aren't really sure what to do with this space now that they've taken it, though. 4 versus 3. They can't afford to slow down the play a little bit. hazed is in a nice spot, but Som is very cautious of what's coming in behind him. Fully paranoid, he's going to smoke himself out. Again, manages to survive in a very difficult position. effys not dedicating to from the shadows, having to rotate all the way around. So NRG are going to be a little bit late to execute on this retake. But they have some nice positioning already. eeiu has heaven control.
Man, effys, I think, would really, when he watches that back, would love to have made himself potentially committed. Has Drone, curveball forward. He's going to deal with the operator of Sock. effys also flashed up. Not going to find the kill. eeiu's good for 1, but KOLER, he'll stay alive. It was effys who was trying to find that angle. Couldn't quite confirm the kill. And he's in a 1v3 with a lot of time already ticking away. Subroza will punish, and TSM, as you mentioned, Ryan, must win round. They do take it, but is 3 truly enough as they swap over to the defensive side?
It's split, so potentially, always, especially when you're about to go in the defending half. This is a key pistol for them to win on this defense, though. But that was a really nice execute and a really nice post plant from them. Certainly Drone that was pushing on screens. With a couple of shots, sure, but getting that first frag, that first opening, was key to making sure that they kept that position and kept that lead. So this is a great time to sort of build on that momentum. It's tricky when you go into a new half, everything completely resets. But their positioning is very much expecting to be execute, and they have the right idea because for now at least, it looks like NRG are going to be pushing there very early on in this round.
TSM on average, when it comes to their defense, win 57% of their defensive rounds in the first rank series. That's going to have to be 75% now. If they want to try to find a way to at least send things to overtime, they would have to exceed that number if they just want to take this map cleanly and go to friendlier confines, which would be map 3 on Ascent. And it looks like for NRG, they're going to stay pretty passive early through the pistol, clear out this dark cover, and then perhaps maybe execute to B.
Right clicks are coming out of hazed. He's done a little bit of damage, but nothing too threatening for the attackers of NRG. They are going to reset. They're looking to do an A execute, but you can also see that TSM are pretty much positioned here, ready to go for this. KOLER is actually going to anchor onto the site behind the metal screens on the site. And then you also have Drone that's going to be pretty much looking across. He's going to fight from site 2. So this is very much a big gamble from TSM. NRG do have time to reset back if they want to, but they can also afford to take heaven control, but they don't realize it. They're going to be pushing back to mid.
This is taking a lot of time. NRG are going to have to commit, and TSM in a 3-2 split between both of the spike sites.
30
if
seconds
they can
left.
even find a kill or two and stall this hit, could be good just based off the clock alone. Starting to feel more like a 6v5 with only 20 seconds to play. The clock might be one of the biggest opponents here for NRG. Here comes the commitment. Subroza's already getting out of sight though. Wardell's good for 1, down to 15 seconds. Still more shots down low. Subroza finds another, down to 10 seconds.
10 seconds
Still
left.
a player in the back, but Sam is good for all 3. The spike will be planted, but effys falls in the hot hands, and Sam is going to have to find the full ace to secure the round here for NRG.
Some really nice utility coming out there. The fault line and the hot hands confirming that kill. Something's going to get flashed around this corner. He peeks away just in time, but Drone gets the wallbang headshot. Looked a bit touch and go, certainly with how NRG were moving around the site, but well played from TSM to bully them away from B, away from A, put them in a precarious position where they didn't have much time left. And they can punish that. It's TSM after all. They take a much needed round.
Ooh, all right, now an opportunity for TSM to again take the following round after a pistol win. But at some point, they're going to have to go on some sort of a streak similar to what NRG were able to do, in which they won 9 in a row, as you see there defensively, only allowing 4 spike plants in total. That's, again, maybe even more impressive than the run itself, but that's going to be obviously negated here. And hazed already forced back as the paint shells comes through quickly. He'll take a bit of chip damage, and NRG are full stacked here at B main.
They're going to be facing here. hazed can't afford to get caught out. He is just going to smoke it. He's expecting a push. He gets fully flashed though. The paranoia hasn't come out just yet. He gets taken down. That's a big kill to open it up for NRG. But Subroza can at least trade him out before some trades him out. So it's a 4 versus 3. Full retake for TSM. And guns still in their favor, but ooh, it's awkward now.
Round 2 Blade Storm for NRG. And Sam's kill potential might just be enough. These are weapons that have been picked up. Curveball comes through. eeiu only good for a little bit of damage. Sam finding a kill. The right click gonna miss. Now to the classic. He goes up top. Wardell a little bit shaky with his shots. KOLER will eventually put him down, and a thrifty round comes through for NRG. They put themselves on 10, and they've completely crippled the opportunity of TSM starting up with a solid defense here in the second half.
Oh, and hazed gets caught out completely in that position. We see a lot of Omens try to face using a paranoia. We saw that earlier with effys on his defense, but he wasn't expecting the flashes to come out. He certainly wasn't expecting the Blade Storm to be a thing. A nice play from NRG to take control over on the B stack, to sort of fight for the orb over there, get that ultimate out, and it was pure magic from then. It has to be a force from TSM, and it's looking awkward for them yet again on this defense.
They're getting aggressive, trying to push through. The dark cover, just a little bit of a shoulder toss for KOLER. Needed to back away from the paint shells, and as he does, Wardell finds the opening pick. So now all of a sudden, TSM with dominating control, at least on the map position, as well with the numbers. But how about this for NRG? They've found an opening. The only hole available to them in this defense was right through middle to A tower. Can they find the kills, though? Sam, a lot of damage confirmed. Comes with a jump peek. Wardell for 2! Now it's just down to eeiu, and he really can't challenge this by himself. He'll give it a go, but Wardell will find 4 kills, and TSM bounce back.
The hero that they needed right then had the Phantom, had really nice positioning, but also shout out to Drone that just sort of baited for his teammate as much as possible, flashed for him at the right times too. It's another pretty interesting round of both these teams trading each other out on half buys. I look at the money for NRG at this point. It's still good at least to buy up a couple of guns, but daps forced to use the Sheriff at this point potentially. Could buy more, but seems to be happy with that gun. They're going to be triple stacking TSM out at least towards A to see if they can get out some early information. But the run it back is actually used very early on.
This is not just the run it back. There are 2 members here with Drone. They're trying to get a freedom to pick up an ultimate orb for KOLER, which she will grab and then back away. That should put him pretty close to a Rolling Thunder, but that is an ultimate spent just to grab an ultimate orb. So you at home can decide if it's worth the value. Subroza caught with the boom bot out, but hazed is there for at least the trade, and the boom bot will actually stop the rest of the hit, mostly from coming through quickly. Hazed is good for a second. eeiu trying to find multiple, but hazed is good for 3. So in 2v2, effys will be allowed to get the spike planted, but there will be the attempt for a retake as you've got high ground control and the ability to push through bottom dirt.
That's a lot of information that daps was able to get at least. Wardell can't afford to take the tag out. He actually gets taken out, and daps can at least see where Drone is. He has to peek aggressively here. He's going to take that fight. Nice peek onto daps.
Oh!
Really clutch play from Drone there. TSM desperately needed that, but it was all off the back of hazed. Anchoring onto that site was so tricky to kill, even after Subroza got caught with his boom bot in his hands and his trousers down, basically. So key clutch rounds TSM need to grab here, and they're able to do so.
And it's on the other side, daps is probably kicking himself a little bit, not holding the angle and just getting the spray through to get both players that are sitting on the backside of that defensive entrance from the backside of B. But the thing about it is that's the right call, I think, for daps in the moment. Just try to keep your life. You got the first kill. You've got a 2v1. The problem was Drone knew where both players were, and there was not a true crossfire ever set up. So you got to credit Drone for getting through, moving aggressive, not worrying about the footstep sounds. He just pushes right onto sight, and he isolates both players.
Oh my
Sam trying to get aggressive. Wardell responds quickly. Paint shells will punish a little bit more. Wardell up top, trying to get the operator online for a second. He will find the kill, and hazed, meanwhile, has found a third. That was over through B main. Drone one more through ropes, and now it's just down to 1. It's effys. And, well, he will make a bunch of noise, and now TSM will know exactly where he is.
Wardell might be able to add to that tally. He does. 3K for him with the operator. I'm not 100% sure, but it looked very close to him being hit by the paranoid there. So I don't know if he did that fully flashed, or whether he was able to dodge it and instantly respond to an aggressive push coming out of NRG on mid there. It's a really key play. But much like Drone in the previous round, he knows when the openings are. Even if they're like half a second, Drone knew when daps peeked him on B main to just quickly move through to get to a spot where neither of them were sure where he was. Great play there from Wardell. He's now top fragging on his team. Started to show up more with the operator on the defense as expected. He's going to be peeking aggressively on A. Doesn't quite get the frags, but Drone does from A ramp. Things are starting to look better for TSM on this defense.
I want to say he hits a leg there. Someone was jumping through and the health was instantly put down to yellow. But like you mentioned, Drone up top, peaks simultaneously. They walk away with all 3 kills. And now hazed. There's the spike down. Looking to try to make this a flawless, but effys will make sure that doesn't occur. He actually finds a second kill before the paint shells will be the end of him. So a bit of punishment here, but that was a full gun round for NRG. And now with no success really whatsoever, they're going to be on another light buy. And all of a sudden beyond that, TSM could potentially just be down 1.
The confidence is good. The money's good. The ultimate economy is probably the best it's been in a long while. They are looking much more comfortable. NRG only to get 1 false round very early on in this half where pistols are still in play. They're going to be buying up, like you mentioned. They do have a lot of ultimates to work with. Certainly looking at KOLER Showstopper. If he can find an opening, if the Rolling Thunder can find impact, that's the thing that they need to break through. But this is going to be a crazy round with all of these ults.
There's the paranoia. That will connect onto Subroza, but the paint shells that comes through might leave enough opportunity for the defense to get set up. Tough shots here for Sam ADS with the stinger, but enough damage will help daps confirm the kill. So 4v4 we go. No ultimates having spent yet. But the spike is not here. This spike is in mid-market, so NRG actually have to back away. Drone's going to use the run it back for the retake, which is successful as he finds the kill. And I don't know if this was just essentially a show of force. Hopefully you can find some weapons and back up, or if this is just miscommunication from NRG, because they get the spike there. There's a chance to get that planted, and maybe there's another opportunity for an eco round.
There's no way that you do that on purpose. You take and fight for all of that space, and then you instantly have it taken away. Like, easy frags coming out now from TSM that are on cleanup. Wardell just taking pot shots to try and catch out effys. If he could get the operator out of his hands, that would be good, but the economy's so decent that Wardell will probably be able to afford anyway. Effys is gonna Effys is gonna die in that scenario. It looked a bit awkward. The operator is gonna get picked up, so Wardell can have that for the next round. But you know what we mentioned, when things don't look good for NRG, they start to make mistakes. That was one of them. Like, they made so much space for themselves, the execute was looking good, and all of that effort was taken away from them because they had to go back and get the spike.
It's with how many ultimates they had, that was the big thing of, well, if you're going to take an aggressive stance like that, spike gets down, you've got the potential of things like a showstopper, a rolling thunder to try to deny the retake to come through. But TSM, all they have to spend there is the run it back. So now we're going to get a tactical pause for NRG as they're starting to feel the pressure. This is a very important gun round, especially from the side of NRG, because you lose this, you're tied 10-10, you're on another light buy round, in which TSM, if they could do this cleanly, will have ultimates to play for to try to close out and make this comeback come to life here on Split.
So you can see somewhat of an execute coming out. You've got effys in sewers, so he's going to be paranoia in the top of a ram. You can sort of tell that TSM are expecting this. They might actually face this quite aggressively. A lot of ultimates available, like you mentioned. A very hard execute is about to come out, starting with that paranoia. A-ramp control, gonna go in and be contested instantly, but that's a nice fault line instantly to try and stop this play from coming through. It slowed down quite a lot. Som doesn't know drone's there.
Oh, and he's gonna find the pick, plus another! How clutch has Drone been on this defensive side? A number of moments where he finds himself in 1v2s, including the actual 1v2 clutch up a couple of rounds ago. This is another one that he's able to clean up two players through A ramps. KOLER needs to find this pick. All he comes away with is a bit of damage.
He has a showstopper and a potential angle that you've got at least hazed playing from right in that corner. He's made a lot of space for himself, though, but needs to be careful that the rotation isn't going to come in too soon. He's looking in the wrong direction, actually. He could get caught out by the defending Raze at this point if he's not careful. He does. Subroza spots that lurk, and you could tell that they were trying to make their way through to A, considering where effys is at this point. He does manage to get one, but he still has to clear the rest of this TSM defending side.
He hears a lot of footsteps, and he does have the spike to play with. TSM are trying to chase him down, knowing he's just onto a bullet worth of HP. effys desperately trying to get this spike planted for a bit of extra cash, but is not going to be allowed to as here comes the hit. effys isn't good for another kill as Wardell puts him down, and we're tied 10. And again, for TSM's defense, they barely spend anything. They're still holding on to ultimates. Cutler's one away from a rolling thunder, and NRG on a save. They're going to have to make some extra tough decisions as we get to the closing moments of this split.
9-3 down to 10-all. TSM have done very much a lot of work on this defending half. All 5 ultimates from NRG didn't get touched at all, but that was a really good read from TSM to know that execute was coming in. Something similar this time. Bladestorm is going to be used instantly from Som, but he's got a lot of plays he's about to face.
Needs to find one least pick. Well, how about this? KOLER on the backside will at least get information. That's a weapon corralled. He'll drop that for daps. From the shadows is going to be spent. hazed is going to commit to this. There's one player nearby. It was eeiu, but isn't able to find the kill. That would have been a big pickup for NRG in the hope of an eco, but as they lose some of their biggest kill potential of Som, it's going to be a 4v2. Subroza really wanting to make this 11th round come through cleanly. Spends the showstopper. Wardell's good for the kill. daps, last player left alive. I don't know what happened to his Phantom, but he was running with the Sheriff instead. And it will be 3 members for TSM to survive as they get put onto 11.
Another solid retake. NRG lose the lead now. They had a tactical timeout. They had 5 ultimates. They've used 2. And another buy coming in. A pivotal round for them to win. I feel like we've been repeating the same notion because it has been... The problems for NRG have been so one-dimensional when it comes to... If they start to go on a losing streak, they start to panic. A lot of plays, a lot of mistakes start to come through. And it's all coming to fruition against TSM, who are going to punish those even minor mistakes time and time again. Another B execute coming through from NRG. Wardell, nice positioning. I don't think NRG are going to expect him here.
First time that he'll be in this spot. Boombot will come through. Will anyone actually take this opening peek to see if Wardell's here? And beyond that, does Wardell even miss? Nope, it's a flashpoint. That'll push him off the angle. Shot will miss. Paint shells, I don't think got exactly where they were hoping for. That was an offensive paint shells from KOLER, I believe. And so NRG will be stalled. Again, this is a must-win round here for NRG. Otherwise, they're back onto a save again.
Wardell's feeling confident now. They, like NRG at this point, know that there's an operator on B. He's not changed up his positioning. He's not trying to change up where he stood. He's just pretty much stood on the same angle, ready to peek them. He is feeling himself right now. And even with all of the flashes and utility that NRG have available, even a Rolling Thunder, he might just updraft over it to avoid being hit. He is not afraid of what NRG could throw at him.
Rolling Thunder paranoia. That's all spent over to the top side of B Tower. Nothing to break off from Wardell's position. He updrafts over the showstopper. Cutler's good for one, but NRG on the way through. They're still alive for this attack as eeiu comes away with a double, and effys will plant the spike.
It's going to be tough now. effys shrouded step right into the corner. hazed still has the paranoia. Drone still has both of his flashes. This is a lot of key utility for TSM to make use out of. They're going to execute together. That's a really nice aftershock that's going to create a bit of space, but now it's a 1 versus 2. hazed gets caught in a crossfire. And what a response from NRG. Wardell was the one getting 2 key picks very early on in that round. And NRG get a very important round to bring the score 11-11.
Unbelievable. What a game that we've had here. What a series we've had here. But this one 11-11, like you mentioned, both teams able to afford and both teams running with essentially the exact same economy. So as far as implications go for the future, take those away and just focus on what's in front of us, because we still have Wardell with an operator. Everybody else in the server will be pulling full armor, full utility, and full ARs.
Wardell still with the operator is going to change up his position from mid. He's considering going back there, or at least making sure that nobody can go through ropes onto A. Mail, a lot of space is being given up. This is going to be free real estate for NRG if they go in that direction, but no, they're going the way of the operator. Wardell, for the second round in a row, gets that first blood. But it didn't stop NRG winning that last round. It is a 4 versus 5, but a lot of ultimates gone from NRG that they had in the last round.
And that pick is not going to stop NRG this round from executing to A, which is exactly what this play was going to be. So yes, they're going to be weakened by a number, but if they can find a way to take down Drone, this is still an execute that could come through cleanly. Flashpoint comes out, and Salam's able to find the trade back. So now 4v4, defensively, TSM on the rotation. The only one left alive is going to be KOLER on the site, but he's done this before. This time, though, he only comes away with 1. Wardell with the Bladestorm, gonna find nothing as eeiu finds the second. A 3v2, and NRG can set up their post plant.
Subroza has a paint shell, getting the right angle on this, forcing some of these NRG players away from the angles that they want to hold is going to be key. Still has the blast pack, so could even hop out and offer himself up as bait. Smokes have come through to bring on A main. It gets used in a position where there is nobody from NRG stood. They're going to be fighting all on this site.
And is there any more utility for TSM to work their way in? Blast pack comes through, does find a little bit of chip damage, but effys is good for 1 kill. hazed, all down to him. He finds 2, knows the last player is sitting by the board, but daps clutches up in NRG. They're not just on map point here, friends. They are on match point versus the Goliath of TSM, who will be forced to come into this last round of the half looking for an overtime, and they will still be able to afford.
And there's no real ultimates, at least online at the start of this round. There could be some potentially grab. Drone is very close to having a run it back on this defense. effys very close. eeiu Rolling Thunder is going to be key. It's if they can get these ultimates early. But NRG, this would be a hell of a game to win in their group. It would up their chances of getting to the first strike finals by a huge amount, taking out TSM this early in the tournament. TSM, though, aren't going to face too much. They know how costly this round is. Wardell is going to be facing on mid. Can get 1, can dash out with his life. Is he going to hold on to Mail, though?
NRG, again, not giving up what they want, which is the middle of the map. The flashpoint able to free eeiu forward. Also, you got to keep your eye on daps who's lurking over through A. Nearby is Drone, other side of this ramp wall from him. Cyber Cage will come down. This peak could be everything, and Drone finds the kill. 5v3 for TSM, trying to send things to overtime, and NRG are trio stacked up top of B tower.
Yeah, they've read this so well. NRG might be expecting a pretty open side, but there's a lot of crossfires in. That's a really nice flash, though. Subroza taken out. Paranoia hits Som, who's going to continue pushing, using all of his smokes to try and make some space. Hazed is at least good for one. It's eeiu. The run it back is going to be used on the defended side. effys is the last alive. He's going to try and teleport out, but he gets caught. We're going to overtime.
Unbelievable! effys nearly makes the play to reset things to a 1v2, but gets caught. Drone off the run it back, finding kills. He's now 21-16. Overtime in play to see if TSM can send things to a map 3 on Ascent, or will NRG get their first major win versus a top-tier organization?
You would still fancy NRG to take this first round, at least, considering how defended-sided it seems to be for both the teams. Som is going to be facing down the barrel. No armor, is fully dedicated to the operator, something that Wardell isn't going to do on this attack, at least. He's 20-18, so big fraggers. effys top fragging in the server. That certainly wasn't on my 2020 bingo card, but here we are. Som's about to face off against these guys. They win overtime. They go for it to the winners final. And TSM could be eliminated in the next game later today.
Flashback coming through. Som not good for the shot. Has to try to back away, but Subroza's good for a double. TSM on the A site, but are deciding what they want to do with the plant. They still haven't gotten the spike down yet. So with that, there will be the opportunity for NRG to be here defensively with a little bit of extra time to play with, but Wardell, he's got an operator. You've got Subroza holding a different corner with the second one that they picked up off the ground, and I just don't know how you do this if you're NRG. That first kill is a good one, though, for daps. But effys and daps trying to work this together still have to get through the operator of Wardell, and they're not going to be able to do it. TSM, they strike first in OT.
Wardell must have made a very last-minute decision to switch over to the ult. Unless somebody else had one way, took it off them. In any case, on this match point overtime round, he's going to be having on the defense because, of course, really nice execute. Subroza looking really good, actually, on the Raze, having a huge amount of impact. It was him, Wardell, and Drone all stuck on 4 frags very early on in the game. Now they've all started to blossom. The whole team is starting to find a huge amount of impact. But we can take it to a third map, that map being Ascent, if TSM can win this next round on the defense.
Nice shot from Wardell just before the cloud burst fully gets developed. Som, though, for one. Wardell's able to find a second. That'll stall things again for NRG. Wardell for 3. One more below him. There's going to be a trade for eeiu, but this will be a 1v4 situation for him. He does have the spike to play with. Has the idea on where Drone is. There's another elimination. Has hazed up top, but Hazed clutches things up. 14-12 in OT. We're going to a set for map number 3.
From 10 to down.